How it works. How the Narcotics Anonymous program works is through honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. It seems simple enough until we actually try to do it. But as they say, anything worth doing is never easy. And just like everything else in life, it takes practice. And the more we practice, the better we become. We first start practicing by taking that leap of faith and sharing at meetings. We practice being honest out loud. The power of sharing in a group is found in the safety that group provides. Those aspects about ourselves that we are afraid to admit shrink when exposed to light. We are safe with others around us and know that the source of hurt will not get us in that group. With this practice, we build courage. Because courage is being afraid, but doing it anyway. And that gives us strength. With some confidence, practice, and courage, we can now get to a deeper level of honesty. Through willingness, if we can keep an open mind. We can then take the first step towards the 12 steps. And no, it's not step 1. We must first find ourselves a sponsor. Then we are ready to go through the 12 steps. We work the 12 steps because this is what makes our recovery possible. Clean time does not equal recovery, but clean time is what makes recovery possible. By working on the steps with a sponsor, we begin the deeper look at ourselves, and this is where we actually obtain that recovery. A sponsor is vital for so many reasons. Our sponsors provide us with an objective view of ourselves, pointing out what we don't see or don't want to see. Most addicts have mastered the art of deception, especially self-deception. With a sponsor who has been exactly where you are, it helps break down that deceptive mindset because our sponsor can see right through it. Where do you find a sponsor? If you have been going to meetings, chances are you may have already found your sponsor, but did not know it yet. Some clues might be found when you hear a person share, and often seem to identify with the struggles they share about, finding yourself wanting to emulate or be more like him or her. In short, you want what they have, because often what they have is a map on how to get out of where you are. From there, just go up and ask, "Hi, if you are available, would you be willing to be my sponsor?" We suggest exchanging numbers and talking one-on-one to get to know them better. This is an important choice you are making, so choose this person carefully, because this is going to be a very deep human relationship, and you need to trust that person. Many of us have found that our sponsor became one of the most important people in our lives. So spending a little time to get to know them one-on-one is a good idea. After all, most sponsorship work is done alone with them. The features you need most in a sponsor is actually not found in them, but rather in you. That you trust this person and you feel safe with them. On occasion, it does happen that the person you ask is not available to take on a new sponsee. Maybe they have too much going on, or really for any reason, they feel they cannot give you the type of attention you deserve. The natural reaction may be to think it's because of me, but in truth, it likely had nothing to do with us. Rather, what you just witnessed was honesty. They respected you enough to admit they cannot do it all, giving proof to why you identified with them. None of us can do this alone. We are all in this together. Also, oftentimes we hear it said that men stick with the men and women stick with the women, which is said for a variety of reasons. But in the sponsor-sponsee relationship, this becomes not a roadblock, but a reason for self-awareness. It is perfectly okay to have a sponsor of the opposite gender you identify with, so long as you are not sexually attracted to them, because this has a greater possibility of interfering with your recovery, due to the emotional rawness and vulnerability one may encounter during this process. Confusion is not a good thing to add to that state. Plus, we may find ourselves trying to place ourselves in a better light and holding back information, which is not at all what we want to engage in during this process. Therefore, it is simply easier to stick with the gender you identify with. There is an IP you can read that is very short and provides good insight. Much of that information was not discussed because it is available for you to read. It is online as IP number 11, sponsorship. Simply click on it and you can read it. Or at a meeting on the IP rack, it stands out because it's that bright orange one. Every sponsor has their own way of guiding the process. This is because there is no one right way, yet there are wrong ways. If you eventually come to feel that your sponsor was not the right fit for you after all, then it is perfectly acceptable to choose a different sponsor. It is suggested that you communicate this decision to them and does not need to be in depth. Simply advise you asked another to work with you and thank them for their time and service. Because ultimately, the purpose of the sponsor is to guide you through the 12 steps. A sponsor is someone to help us find a deeper truth within ourselves and be a guide through the process. Now that we have a better idea of what to look for, it is time to again call upon that courage and simply ask if they are available to be your sponsor. With a guide out of our own personal darkness located, we can now actually take the first step of 12. And this is the point that this video will end, because we cannot truly tell you what the 12 steps are, because their purpose is to help you realize who you are. And that is a very special and unique thing that has been kept from the world for far too long.